My hair in Princess Diaries 2 is large, very, very large. I think I had a hairstylist that worked on Starsky and Hutch. My hair is still quite full in this, but a little bit lankier. Thankfully, I still have my hair because my father's bald. Ladies and gentlemen, Entertainment Weekly presents Chris Pine's oeuvre, which is a fancy way of saying all the shit I've made over the years. Star Trek, incredible.
Starfleet Command has ordered us to rescue them, Captain.
I got the audition for it, went out for it, didn't get it, didn't think anything of it. 3, 4, 5 months had passed, so I'd like completely forgotten about it. And then I went off and did this film, and my agent said, do you want to go in for Star Trek again? I said, didn't I already go in? I didn't get the part. I didn't think it was any good. And he said, they want you to come back in and audition for JJ. I remember going in, and JJ was really fun. And, you know, it's ridiculous. You're sitting, standing, acting in an office in Hollywood, and you're talking about phasers and thrusters and the battleships going down and Klingons are coming after you. It's acting with a capital A.
Kirk, what are you doing
Transmission from the Klingon prison planet. What
Oh
exactly?
my God, what's wrong with your hands?
Look, who is responsible for the Klingon attack, and was it clip on you?
JJ's very giggly, so he's very like reactive. He's like what an actor loves. It's like we perform for people, and he's giving you a lot, right? And so I did that, and then I went out, and then he said, Spock's here, the guy that's playing Spock, who's Zachary Quinto, and I knew that Zach was Spock, and I'd known Zach because we worked out at the same gym with the same trainer, very Hollywood. Same nutritionist and acupuncturist. Auditioning is I found it very fun. It's very disheartening, and you kind of work your way up, and you're doing TV, and it was much more the case, I think, back then than it is now, where it's like, to be in a film was like a big, big effing deal.
Let's name him after your dad. Let's call him Jim.
Hemsworth is just so beautiful. Such a beautiful Australian man. I'm very happy that he's my father. I didn't get the depth of his voice, maybe. I like the baritone, that Aussiness. I like Chris a lot.
You and your castmates all were at one point rumored to come back for a fourth.
You may have more information than I do.
I don't.
So, I don't know. I just read in the trades that someone got hired to write a new script. I was under the impression that there was already a script, but I have no idea. I'd love to do it, and if they want to do it, fantastic. Okay. Oh, Wonder Woman, another hero look, off to the side.
I'm one of the good guys, and those are the bad guys.
What?
The Germans, come on, we need to get out of here.
The Germans?
I had gotten pitched Wonder Woman probably like a year or two before Patty had gotten involved, and it didn't really speak to me, and I was like, I don't want to play the boyfriend of. That sounds pretty boring. And then the way that Patty pitched it was like, oh, this is the world's biggest love story. It's like, it's got nothing to do with superheroes. It's a love story. The first thing she ever really described to me, she's like, you're gonna come back and it's this whole thing. And the whys and wherefores of the monkey paw that does the thing, I don't really care. I was like, what the fuck am I doing in the film? What am I doing? She was so enamored and so alive to this idea. And again, it's like that, the story is this epic, tragic love story of this thing that can never be. I just thought how powerful that there's a superhero film that has nothing actually to do with destroying New York. Like, we love telling the revenge story. And Patty was like flipping the script on the whole thing and saying, whoa, wait a minute. What about like forgiveness and compassion? And people bash the movie, and I think it's because it didn't play the part of what people wanted, which is like, kill him! And I love the film. So there. Anyway, next one, blind dating? No, it's Pullman! It's the film we're here to talk about. Isn't this an incredible poster? I'm so proud of that. I look so tired.
Hey there, Los Angeles. You've reached Awesome Aquatics. Have an awesome aquatical day.
This started like, my God, 4 or 5 years ago, I had this idea of Darren Behrman and he's a pool man. I had the name of the character and the name of the film, and it really made me giggle a lot. I kept on thinking about it, and it caromed in my brain, and then a year passed, and I'm still thinking about it. I had this idea of this guy who really takes pool cleaning seriously, like it's, Tai Chi Bruce Lee stuff, like Kung Fu water ninja. I had this whole idea of like how he cleans the pool, and it's like ballet, and then I was like thinking about it and writing about it, and then I think about the music for it. It became seemingly inevitable that I would direct the masterpiece that is Pool Man that's coming out May 10th. Learning about being a pool man was difficult. It's something that I trained endlessly for. I lost weight, I gained weight, lived with my own pool man for months. It was worth it. Living with my pool man, training as a pool man, dancing as a pool man, kissing as a pool man, making love as a pool man. I learned that from my pool man. Yeah.
Spacious! He's spacious, for crying out loud.
I'm spacious!
Jack.
I think this is like a case of life definitely imitating art. I had these pair of shorts that I love by Banks Journal, which I don't think is even around anymore, but they're these blue corduroy shorts that I've now patched up so many times that they're almost rigid like cardboard because I've worn through them. I love the shorts. It was summer. It felt like the right thing to do, so I wore those. I was in Joshua Tree, and I was trying to think about, like, what does this guy look like? And I was standing in line for a coffee, and I saw this rock climber, and I was like, that's the guy. And he looked like this 70s dirtbag hippie, and I was like, absolutely everything about this guy. The t-shirt, the shorts, these weird fucking boots with the weird socks. And so that was the genesis of that, like a 70s dirtbag rock climbing hippie. And then all the clothes that he wears in the thing are from films that I love. He wears Capezio dance shoes because I remember my sister always went to Capezio to get her ballet slippers, and somehow that seemed to make sense and make me laugh. He has his own Jake Gittes detective suit. Jake Gittes is from Chinatown. I had this great floppy Japanese straw hat that I'd bought once and loved. Little Red Shorts, just like the Prince song, right? Princess Diaries 2. Who are these three dudes? Who the hell are these three guys? I've never seen this one. I'm not even on the fucking poster. What is similar about Princess Diaries 2 and Pool Man? Whoa, well, they're two stories. This is kind of like a weird love story. It's about a boy man trying to find love in a complicated world. He's searching for love, just like in Princess Diaries. Anne Hathaway is searching for love.
We are perfect for each other. He understands me.
Understands you? Wow, what passion. Well, I didn't hear you mention love.
You're so jealous.
Why would I be jealous of Andrew? He's got to spend the rest of his life married to you.
Princess Diaries 3, where is it? Have you been reading my diary? I don't know, I haven't heard anything about it. If it were me, it would take place, they'd have a time machine, and they go back to the 50s, and it would be like 1955 in Rome. You know what it would be like a Luca Guadagnino film, directs Princess Diaries 3. Now that is fucking fire. Don't worry, darling. Delusions, memory problems, hysteria. We saw these issues with Margaret and know that it's completely curable. Dr. Collins prescribed you a suite of medications which you were clearly not taking. The question is why?
He's lying to us. He's lying to all of us.
Fellow actor director Olivia, did she give you any advice going into Pool Man?
I sought out all the kind of advice for Pool Man that I could. I talked to Olivia, I talked to John Krasinski, I talked to Ben Stiller, I talked to Jason Bateman, I talked to a bunch of people. I forgot all of their advice because the moment you're on set, you're like, oh fuck, oh my God, what am I doing? So you just have to go. You just like start running and you don't stop for, in our case, 21 days. We had a 21-day shoot. You're like, red, white, blue, no, yes, tomorrow. You just don't have any time to think. Into the woods, look at that.
That jest. Never heard of such a thing.
I speak the truth. She's as true as your maiden, a maiden running from a prince. None would run from us.
Yet one has.
And doing Agony, I mean, first of all, it's like we got to shoot, I think, at one of the Queen's forests or something. And they had this actual waterfall. And we had these gorgeous horses that we were riding. And I think with him, it was all about body posture and dramatic head tilts. It was always like, and he knew when he was on, like he would feel the spotlight and then he'd start singing. I just had an absolute blast with that part. Musicals are so hard, and I'd never done one before. And I'd always thought, like, how difficult to like be talking and then break into song. I don't understand how it happens. I don't know why it happens. It didn't seem to make any sense to me. So how great to have a character who's like very clearly like in a meta way living inside of a fantasy, inside of a musical. So that is kind of what he does. And I loved that idea of that guy, of that kind of guy. Hell or High Water, yet another hero look.
And this makes you the executor. So no matter what they charge us with, they can't take it away.
There's no way to trace funds from a casino. All right, once you get the checks to the bank, trust is untouchable.
Hell or High Water is one of maybe 3 scripts I've ever read where I finished it and I was like, that's a perfect film. And if they don't mess it up, that is a perfect film. That was cowboy poetry from the first letter of the script to the last. And I knew I wanted to do it immediately. I'd never done a Western before. And so I had a meeting with Taylor before. I'm not even sure if there was a director attached to it at that point, but I said I really loved it. And they said, well, Taylor has to meet you. And I think basically, ultimately, Taylor had to give the okay. So we met for pizza and had a chat. And then I got it. And then it all kind of fell together. I'd just seen Startup, which was David Mackenzie's film about a father and son in prison, which was incredible film. And then I just worked with Ben Foster on a film, and Ben was cast as my brother, and it was like alchemy was just perfect. Taylor obviously is behind Yellowstone as well, a little watched series on Paramount Plus. But if he came knocking for a part, I'd want to play, you know, the bad boy. You're making the face too. There, she's like this. Outlaw country guy, you know, like Waylon. Unstoppable. Excuse me, I'm looking for Frank Barnes.
You found him?
I'm Will Coulson. We're working together today. Train 1206. Well, before talking about Denzel, I have to talk about Tony Scott, who directed it. Tony was a legend, and for, you know, kids of my age growing up in the 80s, Tony was like a god, you know? Days of Thunder and Top Gun and Last Boy Scout, and like, he's just the tops. I loved him so deeply, and like getting hired by Tony, who's like this little cinema elf. He was like very excited about creating. He was always jumping up and down and highly caffeinated.
Just keep it at 4. You all right? Take it easy.
Yeah.
Easy. Hold that dynamic out of 4. Integrate it with the throttle if you have to. Hold it out of 4.
To make a film with Denzel, where it was basically just a two-hander, me and him in the cab of this train, I got to learn a lot by osmosis just by being around him and seeing how he handled the camera and handled his work and handled story structure. And I remember really what comes up now for me about Denzel is Mark Baumbach had written this beautiful script. And there was a lot of backstory stuff in there and not enough backstory stuff for me. And I kept on fighting to have more kind of story about my character. And I remember Denzel in the script process was just cutting all the stuff about his family. He's like, I don't have to say that. I don't have to say that. I don't have to say that. I can do that. I can do that. And that is the power, I think, of a really skilled cinema actor, is knowing how powerful and emotive he is just by being him, and how much he's able to carry onto the film just by simply being in the film. So that was a great lesson from that. Wish. Great goatee.
This is the thanks I get. This is the thanks I get.
Animated for me allows your imagination to go wild because it's not real. So there's a part of your imagination that has to open up even more, and I think that's why it connects with children and the child in all of us, because you're engaged more with the thing.
I'm passionate. I'm not petulant. Someone praise me for my benevolence.
Singing for that was really, really, really hard. I remember having to really learn how to use the mic and how to like breathe and aspirate through syllables and words. The art form is so fascinating. Firstly, to sing. Secondly, to sing to a microphone, which is a completely different beast, and you have to learn, much like a camera, what it can handle and what it can't handle, when you can pull back and when you want to be on top of it.
I will protect you at all costs. At all
Yeah, for me, At All Costs is like, when I heard that, I cried. And I was like, oh my God, that's gonna win you an Academy Award. I think it's stunning, stunning. I was convinced when I heard that. I was like, get ready, get your tuxes out. This is gonna be, you should get nominated for this. And that was the one I was actually more worried about doing justice to. And no one talks about it, and I'm kind of stunned about it. I find it tremendously moving. Dungeons and Dragons. Only answer when I talk to you, okay?
Yes. Why did you say okay at the end of that?
I didn't.
Fantastic.
Where's the shovel?
This felt fated. I had no interest in it, but it was one of these things that is like synchronicity and cosmic stuff. I finished the script and I put it down, and then within 20 minutes, my nephew, I'd forgotten, my nephew was coming over to play Dungeons and Dragons at my house with his friends. And I was like, that's odd. And then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do a little reconnaissance. I went outside and I watched them play, and it was like, it reminded me of improv class. An improv class where everybody's like a little carbonated and a little like, oh, what's gonna happen? And you're a little nervous, and then people start popping off, and it's like pop rocks. It's like, people get really excited and running around, and the story keeps on going. And I was like, oh man, there is definitely something to this thing.
Look, Simon may not have my wit or hold his strength, but when it counts, this young man delivers. It's why I chose him.
He's also the only sorcerer you know.
Logan, I help.
I find it strange to this day that people are casting me, this awkward teenager, as these leaders. So maybe I bring a sense of humanity to it, that like, if I can do it, maybe you can too. Because really, ultimately, leading men and leading women, they're aspirational, right? They're like the audience stand-in. You go and watch these people kill dragons and stuff because it teaches you how to be the best in yourself. And I don't know if I'm necessarily the aspirational type of, like a Tom Cruise. I'm more of a your next door neighbor, John. Like you see every morning picking up the paper like, hey, John. Maybe John has some pretty interesting things going on for him. Maybe he slays dragons.